Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Bristol News में Mubashar Chaudhry, खुशामदीद to viewers. Today we have a guest, Raja Salim Akhtar. He is a human rights activist, local businessman, and representing point of view of the public. And today's program, especially what sentence been given in the in the special court to General Pervez Musharraf. Next to Raja Salim Akhtar, we have Barrister Irfan Sheikh. Thank you very much for coming. He is a managing director of Silla Solicitor and he's Supreme Court barrister in Pakistan, and he has practiced in Pakistan and as well as in UK. So we'll get his opinion on the decision. And then we have Councillor Afzal Shah. He's a prominent politician and keep a deep eye on Pakistani politics as well. So we'll get his point of view, how that has been taken by the wider community. And next to that, we have Arif Khan. He is the chairman of Bristol Mosque, and he is again a prominent politician and well known to the community, and he will tell us what the public is perceiving through this decision. And we start our communication with Irfan Sheikh Saab. Sheikh Saab, you have seen this decision. So, आपका क्या views है? What do you think? Is it a right decision, and are there are some if and buts in it?
There are various dimensions regarding this decision. One is legal dimension, purely legal dimension. The other is political dimension. The other is how it will go within the society, social dimension. And it has, in fact, this decision has clear fault lines in our society.
Mm-hmm.
As far as legal dimension is concerned, हुआ ये था कि there was an order passed by General Musharraf while he was president of Pakistan. He promulgated a PCO which suspended, or some articles which suspended some fundamental rights, which had the effect of house arresting a number of superior court judges, which had the effect of kind of controlling media and so many other things. Just wanted to control everything. Maybe circumstances justified or not, but that was something which was extra constitutional, which was beyond the law. But that happened. Subsequently, this was withdrawn. Eventually, there was an election, the new government came and all that. When the new government came, the judges were still under confinement. Eventually, they were released and they were eventually restored to the benches. At that stage, eventually, a full court bench was constituted in Supreme Court, and they held that this was an extra constitutional step. This was a violation of law, and the act fell within the ambit of Article 6 of the Constitution, which says what will be the high treason and what will be the consequence of that high treason. That happened, and that was done, and the recommendation was that federal government should take action against them. Nobody can initiate
So
action.
who recommended that? Like federal government?
That says Article 6 of the Constitution, and Article 6 says that this will be, whosoever does this, it will be high treason, and what will be the punishment? It will be given in a special law. That special law says that only federal government will be empowered to initiate that action.
So it is being initiated by the federal government.
The federal government.
So at that time,
no, I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
Federal government, and the only punishment is death penalty. So then there was an implementation bench of Supreme Court. They said why action has not been taken so far. They tried again and again. Eventually they said that if action is not taken on the Supreme Court order, there is a possibility that we may take you for contempt of court. They had recently, a few years back, rather a year back, kind of convicted a Prime Minister, Yusufullah Gilani, and he had to leave the seat because he was held guilty of contempt.
Mm-hmm.
So the then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had no other option but to initiate that action.
Okay, so basically it was initiated by Iftikhar Chaudhry.
He basically gave a judgment, and that judgment needed to be implemented, and that implementation, federal government
has to take
Prime
action.
Minister had to take action, and he just filed this
petition.
And eventually that matter continued, since it had already been held by full court of Supreme Court that he is guilty of high treason.
So when Iftikhar Chaudhry initiated that, so he was not a grieved party, it was not taken that way.
That point can be taken that there was a conflict of interest, there was some, but at that stage they should have done something. They should have gone and reviewed, they should have some other petition that this is not implementable because the person making that judgment has a personal axe to grind.
That's right.
Personal enmity, but nobody took. And the law is that eventually that.
So this has started in which year?
It was 2011 that was the judgment, but it started in 2014.
Okay, so actually it started.
2013 was started and 14 actually, and then it continued. As far as legal aspect is concerned, legally the punishment is correct.
All right.
Legally the proceedings were done because every stage they gave him that now you have a right to appear, you can appear now. Do you have a right to record your statement through video link? You have a right to, somebody can come to you and record your statement. All options were given to him at various stages.
So I've seen one interview of Pervez Musharraf where he said, I'm happy to give any kind of statement if they need, and he was in hospital giving the interview at that time.
But by that time the judgment had already been reserved when his last.
Okay. Yeah.
The proceedings had been concluded. Only the court was restrained from announcing the order. And again court said that okay, we do not announce the order and we give you another and final opportunity to come and get your statement recorded by 2nd of December.
And he did not.
He said, okay, so finally we will announce from 7th.
So did they say to come, or they were happy to get a statement via?
They had already given him options to get his statement recorded through video link.
Okay.
Or get it recorded through his commission. Anything. All options were available to him, but as a matter of fact, nobody was serious, neither in Nawaz Sharif government or in Imran Khan's government. Nobody was serious to get him convicted. It was something, gale pada dhol bajana, that was something. Yeah. Nobody was serious.
So, and I believe everybody was not thinking about the same way we were not thinking about the Brexit gonna happen, and it happened.
It happened. So eventually, the judges who announced the judgment, they were totally helpless because in that given scenario, when it was a finding of fact that he had committed high treason, the only thing they could was a punishment. And that was, in a way, everything was brought on record because it has to be a separate trial. It was a charge sheet that you have done this thing. It was evidence, all his notifications and everything, and all orders, and signed by Pervez Musharraf. So it was all documentary, and there was so many prosecution witnesses.
According to the Article 6, as far as I know, like the facilitators are equally responsible for the things. So he was heading a government, and there was consultation. He said
A and B, and they say that whosoever does converts, subverts, or the 3-4 things, he will be guilty of high treason. The second is all those people who collaborate him or facilitate him in doing this thing, they are also guilty of high treason. So
basically, I think Chaudhry Bradhan said, like, put us as a party into this case, and it has not been done.
Because this was being done in pursuance of Supreme Court orders, where it was said that Pervez Musharraf solely is responsible for this illegal act. And this is now, they say that if government thinks that other people were also responsible, federal government can still go for a second reference.
So then it would be a Pandora box, in other words.
Second reference is those people like Fawad, Joseph Fawad Hussain, he was with Musharraf, he will be responsible. For Dawasa Sheikh, he was with Musharraf, she will be responsible. So half of his cabinet will be responsible. They are just pinpointing Zahid.
Yeah. So means if we say like if they just take General Pervez Musharraf as one person, won't it be like a political victimization? I won't say, but it is a victimization. Like you just choosing one person. Yes, the act was illegal, and legally this is right. But if four of us done something, why the one person is just?
Thinking before the court was that Pervez Musharraf was in such a powerful and overwhelming position that he didn't need any collaboration or support. He could do anything. All other people actually were there because of him.
But
Not Musharraf was because of them.
but think in a way like it was their choice. So if I'm like
But this point was raised. This point was raised before the court that this case cannot proceed and all these people should not. That application was heard and dismissed. Nobody has challenged that further.
do you really think like he all this in all of this case he has given a right platform to present himself, and his solicitors actually done all the best they could, but the result was like
No,
black and white?
he was not given proper legal. He never kind of conducted his case as he should have been because he thought, other people thought, and everybody else thought that he can never be convicted because he's the ex-chief of army staff, because his conviction will be taken as some slur to the army. So nobody took it very seriously.
So if we see this, and we probably I probably start with the Councillor Afzal, like what do you think as a wider public, what impact would be, and what picture it present to the wider community and internationally?
Thank you to Sheikh Saab for offering that explanation. I think it's very important that we have an insight from a legalistic perspective about what has actually led up to this verdict. So whether it's Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, many organisations have actually condemned the verdict by saying that whilst they appreciate that nobody is above the law, nobody should be above the law, the verdict of a sentence to death, which as I understand it is the only
no, there is one
which is the only sanction available.
No, there was like life sentence and there was a death penalty. So two of the judges said death penalty and one of the judges said life sentence.
Is that correct? So
it's sad, but all three judges unanimously held that yes,
he has done. Yeah.
So
that was it could have been life imprisonment, but it could have been death. But they said that there is no mitigating circumstance to go for life imprisonment.
But why like obviously?
So I think that is awful. The decision itself, in terms of, I mean, this is a politically motivated decision. I personally feel, and sometimes Pakistan and Pakistanis can be their own biggest enemies. You know, there are many things that we can do to work together to tackle in the country in terms of poverty alleviation, in terms of raising the standards of education. There's issues around water scarcity. There's issues around sectarianism, and I think to have the focus on this and sentencing this gentleman to death, I think that is unwarranted. If he has committed offences, fine, put him up for those offences specifically. But the bottom line is, I feel that this is a politically motivated decision. And if you look at so turning away from the army for a moment, which has ruled Pakistan for at least half of its life since independence, since it gained independence. Whilst I appreciate that ultimately what we want is a strong functioning democracy, the bottom line is that this decision will not help. And I think we also need to bear in mind that President Musharraf, if you look at his credentials, he fought in 1965. He fought in 1971. He's received. This is a man who has put his life to risk
Indeed, for the country.
Well, effectively, he has risked his own life, prepared to actually sacrifice his life for the defence of his nation. And whilst he has made mistakes, absolutely he has definitely made mistakes. I mean, there was a very difficult time for Pakistan, following 9/11. Pakistan was between a rock and a hard place. So mistakes have definitely been made. But where he needs to be pursued for that, do that based on its merits, rather than actually saying that high treason has been committed, and then we must make sure that he is sentenced to death as well.
And the thing is, like in 2007, if we see, they basically based on that. But actually, the whole story started in 1999, if I'm not wrong. In 2007, particularly, if we see like what has happened to the judiciary.
So that was because of Kargil. So actually, the background story to this is about Kargil.
So basically, he has like big grievances with Mubashar Chaudhry, and obviously his son was appointed, something, whatever, XYZ. There were a lot of things going on. And obviously, after that, they started from 2007. If they started in 1999, the situation could be different. So it means that Mubashar Chaudhry, who actually started this, he actually took an oath under Pervez Musharraf. So he was the facilitator in 1999, if we see in that way.
But we do understand that during that period, when we talk about 1999, that General Pervez Musharraf was returning from Colombo, from Sri Lanka. His plane was not allowed to land.
That's right.
Within any airport within Pakistan. The nearest airport, as I understand it, at the time was attempting to land in Lahore, was it? Sakar. And the nearest airport that he could have potentially landed at would have been Ahmedabad in India. So effectively what Nawaz Sharif was trying to do, he's trying to hand over his government's chief of army staff to India. Right? And if that's not treachery, I don't know what is. So I think we need to understand there is a context to this, and we can't ignore the context. But in terms of the constitution of any country, and especially Pakistan, as we're talking about it here today, of course that should be sovereign. But what I'm saying is, where any offences have been committed, go after them specifically.
And the important is, like the way I see, if we see constitution, article 62, 63, these are part of constitutions. And if we see all our politicians, are they fulfilling that? So
they were, I think, incorporated for that very purpose, that whosoever is not of liking, he could be just
thrown away,
checked out, because nobody will fulfill those qualifications.
Yeah, but then the main issue arises, Bhaijan, why is he the only person being held responsible?
So, Arif Khan, you are the chair of Council of Bristol Mosque. One of the story about Pervez Musharraf, if you remember, like one time when actually the Kaaba, the Masjid there was hijacked
in 1979.
1979. Yes. So French army tried, obviously. Saudi army tried, they couldn't. So then Pakistani troop went in there, yes, and they managed to take it on. And you know who was the leader of that group? Commandos. It was Pervez Musharraf. He was major at that time. So person like that, and who has part as Councillor Afzal said, like 1965, 1971, Kargil, he done a lot for the country. So if we see, like, yes, there was legally, if we see, probably, there was things which went wrong, but there were a lot of circumstances around it as well. So what do you see, like, how you see it really?
Well, I think you took the words out of my mouth, Bhaijan. The reality of it is, he joined the army in 1961. Yes, you've just pointed out the Kaaba incident. Alhamdulillah, it hurts me when they call him a coward.
That's right.
Yeah, he's not a coward. I've never seen such a brave soldier. Political side is political side. But where is life as a soldier? You cannot call him.
You can't call him
No,
traitor.
no, no. He has won so many awards. Yes, no doubt. He's one of the best generals that we have ever had. उनको सनद भी मिली. And furthermore, what really intrigues me is he is the sole person who's getting blamed for this incident, and yet what's happening to those who were involved and what is happening to those who have taken our country to zero. Yeah, and they're fleeing out, they're here and there, nothing is being done about it, but yet we've got poor Musharraf, oh yeah, death sentence. That sentence I totally condemn.
And if you see the same day, if I'm not wrong, I think a prominent leader from the People's Party, she's been got the bail.
Yeah, Priyal Talpur is their, who was their former leader of the opposition, Khurshid Shah.
Yeah.
They all. The thing is that as far as his military career is concerned, he was a good soldier, no doubt about it. He was a brave person, fine. He was, we cannot say a traitor in that sense of the word. He is not a traitor, he has never sold Pakistan. The thing is that it is constitution which defines that if this thing is done, this will be the consequence. That is the only thing. Constitution says that whosoever fiddles with it, he will be guilty of high treason. So it is in that context. It is not in context that he sold Pakistan to India or to America. No, he is a true Pakistani, no problem. But this is a different angle, and that is there.
And Raj Sahab, what do you say about, obviously, as an overseas Pakistani, how you think, like, what are the sentiments of overseas Pakistani looking at this matter at all?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Going last has its advantages. Everything that has to be said has been said. But there's lots of bullet points that I've been trying to take here. And my memories of President Musharraf are very, very positive. And I think he alone was not guilty of this crime, as Arif and everybody say. Legally, they made him guilty. Now, the judgments of the Pakistan courts nowadays are not the flavour of the month at the moment. But obviously this case was actually a lot before that, so it goes on. But when we speak about who's to blame, whether he's the single person to blame, there's always a think tank behind a lot of this for every country, basically. This gentleman was, I seen him on Panorama, I think it was a program, and you know, they tried their best. There was a time of tension of war, and they tried their utmost best to get him to say that he would press the button for the nuclear weapons. To which his answer every time, and I'm positive it was approximately about 7 times they asked him, and every time he came back, he said there is no such thing as a friendly war.
He's a good communicator, we would say.
And that was that. And the other situation that, you know, he diverted Pakistan was going to be
the war against India.
They were going to try, well, the Americans tried to make Pakistan a terrorist state. When the President of America gave ultimatum to Pakistan to say either you stand with us with the terrorism or you are the terrorist. So obviously he's used his brains and he's gone, he said we are with you and we all want to fight terror as well. Now, thinking back to what I said previously regarding about the think tank, whether he was in exile, he may have had other people that were actually with him on most of the things. So he thought, well, okay, I'll take the bullet for them and save other people instead. And there's other things like lots of positives from him. I personally think he was a good person, and I also think share the opinion with a lot of people out on the street and family and so forth, the people that I communicate with every day with all sorts of walks of life, who think that the death penalty was very, very harsh,
Yeah.
and that he should have been given life sentence in his absence. So that's my opinion.
Yes,
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of other things, and there's always two sides to a story. But there you go.
So, Arif Saab, you see, like, one side there is a person who fought the war, who served the country, who tried to bring the country to a positive place, and obviously even till now, like, they won't be able to apply any financial corruption and all this on Pervez Musharraf, and he would be called traitor, he would be called coward, and death sentence. And on another side we have our politicians who give oath, we will respect the country's constitution, we will make sure the assets of countries should be protected, everything would be the country's is above everything on their personal agenda, and what we see is totally different. When they come into power, the country goes down, their asset goes up, and we've seen a lot of examples. And at that time, like, obviously when it comes to the courts and all this, they can hide behind the loophole of the law, for example, I would say, and they're not come into a real justice where they should go to. So how things read?
Jazakallah, thank you very much. But where do you see the justice then? The question is, where do you see the justice? The people who have looted Pakistan, maybe money laundering, whatever way they've done it, they're out there, no death sentence, no death penalty, and a chap who has served his country in the army in the best possible manner, and a braveheart. I give him the name of braveheart.
Mm-hmm.
He not once went on his knees and said, no, India's too big, such and such a country is too, no, we will not go in Makkah and fight, No, he has always stood up as a man. I mean, a soldier accepts death more than we would, because he's facing the bullet 24/7 in a sense. But you see, soldiers as such, very rare, and this sentence is very, very harsh, Baijan, compared to the other politicians, what they have done to the country, and this poor chap sentenced to death. That I totally condemn. I'm sorry to say, it's nothing personal, but I believe somewhere along the line the decision was made personal, to be quite honest, and that to me is not right.
Councillor Saab, I passed the same question to you as well. So think in a way, in our country, the one of the institution which we see is very, very positively engaged with things, and you see like discipline in them, was the army and is the army. Whereas we see our political sphere, we see a lot of if and buts there. Here in this country, if you see, obviously political politics is based on ethics, but there is based on power and money. So what do you think? Would it affect the a soldier who is standing on the front line defending a country? Would that affect that individual soldier, or they will see like legally it is okay to be sentenced like that?
So, firstly, I agree with the sentiments of the other panelists here, that it does certainly, on the face of it, seem like Pervez Musharraf has been made a scapegoat. There were many other people. It takes more than one individual to run a government, and this does seem to be more of a personal grudge of a number of individuals, including judges who may have been sentenced then, but now They feel that it's time to get even, time um, to take advantage of the situation that Pervez Musharraf is, and with this kind of sentence, the message that it sends out is not. It speaks volumes about the individual judges and the judiciary who actually came to this verdict. But talking about the Pakistani army specifically, I think we can all agree that the Pakistani army is it's extremely disciplined. It's in terms of prestige, it's respected around the world. You know, Pakistani soldiers, in terms of the number of soldiers serving in United Nations peacekeeping forces, is actually one of the largest peacekeeping forces in the world. And they do an incredible job. They serve around the world in keeping peace in very difficult circumstances. I've read of a number of individuals who've actually come to Sandhurst and they graduated here. You know, it's Sandhurst is a very prestigious military academy. We know that the Pakistani military, that they come and train with the British Special Forces at the Brecon Beacons every year, and they always win awards for their skill sets whenever they come. So in terms of the Pakistani armed forces, they are highly respected around the world. And in terms of the soldiers, I think individual soldiers, yeah, I think that there will be some loss of morale, and I feel that they will be feeling upset that, you know, former Chief of Army Staff has received this kind of sentence. That's not to say that he should not have received, that anybody, whether it's a senior politician, whether it's a member of the armed forces right at the apex, that they should be allowed to get away scot-free. I mean, nobody should be above the law, nobody. But it needs to be appropriate, and it needs to be based on evidence. It should not be based on grudges. And unfortunately, it seems like on this occasion that this is more a case of personal grudges, which I just feel is a real shame.
Sheikh Saab, like if you see, we do understand army's interference into politics was quite a lot. But obviously I had a trip into Pakistan a month ago. What I realized, like there's too much things going on against the army, and obviously, I would say like there was an agenda actually to feed into people's mind, army is not doing good, army is not doing good. So in that way, basically, we are demoralizing our army. And if you see, like, at least for a decade now, we got People's Party government. First time ever, they completed their 5 years. Then, and then we have Muslim League Noon government. They have completed their 5 years. Now we have the third government. So this was first time happening in the country. And considering all that into mind, don't you think like basically we are the army which is trying to obviously keep themselves into the lines where they should be, and we as a public or we as a politicians are trying to drag them back into the situation we were before?
I think if we are confining to this decision, Musharraf's decision, two aspects. Legally, the decision is correct. I cannot find any fault legally. But its timing is incorrect, highly inappropriate because of Kashmir situation.
Of course.
And other than Kashmir situation, there are violence erupting, riots because of that Muslim Act in various parts of India. And India is feeling weak. So to cover that weakness, they may kind of charge against Pakistan. In terms of attack, in terms of something.
So all the media attention is moving toward this instead of Kashmir.
So when we can foresee that Modi can do something, some foolish act to attack on Pakistan because he want to control his country, otherwise which is not controllable. So we need our army happy and satisfied, and they should have the feeling that yes, this is a country worth dying for. And at this stage, this has not given a good message.
No.
That
And-
may be misunderstood because sometimes strict legal things are not appropriate legal things
Of
or
course.
appropriate political.
It should be politically correct as well.
Politically correct. It is not politically correct, legally correct. Yes,
Yes,
but political, I think, timing and the stage and the general environment of the country, in that it doesn't fit in.
Yes. Rajesh Sahab, if we see like we are in kind of like a war era, like, so it's not a war between one border to another border. It's a proxy war we are facing. We are seeing the Kashmir as an issue as well. And we should understand, like, we can't buy the loyalty by paying 50 or 60 or 70,000 to someone and say, like, go into the border and fight for us. So it is demoralizing somehow, some way, our soldiers, indirectly or directly. So what do you think, like?
Well, I think the Pakistan army is very, very strong. We've had all the praises from our brothers here, and as our gentleman here said, is the timing of this issue has come at the wrong time with the Kashmir issues and various other issues that Imran is facing. And it's like if Imran is not a army person, but obviously he's going to be discussing this with all his generals and everything. And it's like if he takes a decision, do you prosecute him at a later date for taking a decision that he's probably made combined with the army or the navy or whichever?
Even political, there was a government at that time, especially for this decision is concerned.
That's correct. But there's probably be a lot of things come out of this at a later date as and when things arise to this issue. I'm sure he's got an appeal, possibly. So it's more than likely he will appeal against that, and I think at some stage this will be overturned to life imprisonment.
Arsab, if you can put a quick comment before we finish. Is it like the appeal will heal the things, or you think like, it's, the damage is done?
The damage is done, like Baijan explained and the other brothers. Instead of us praising our army, why are we making them feel disheartened? This was the time, but like Baijan said, it's the wrong time, wrong move. I've always said, अगर मुल्क से हमारे वतन से किसी ने वफा की है तो वो पाकिस्तान आर्मी है, और पाकिस्तान को आखिर दम तक मैं जिंदाबाद ही कहता रहूँगा, और पाकिस्तान को भी यकीन मानिए और भी सारे महकमे हैं, लेकिन जो वफा हमारी आर्मी में है अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अल्लाह ऐसे ही रखे. But this thing has totally, I know for a fact 90% of the army would be disheartened. This is their chief, a general. And what has he got for being 55 odd years in the army? And what does he receive at the end of it?
That's right.
So how does it make the rest of the army feel by?
So, Councillor Saab, if you can sum up. Yeah?
Just one thing, I know the Americans invented the saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. In this particular case, I think Pakistan Army is the one that's implemented that. In many cases, we talked about, the wars, the Kargils, the attack on the Khanaqaba, and if other armies have failed from that, then and they've succeeded, obviously they've got some better way of thinking and techniques and so forth.
Yes.
Although they may not have the financial clout to compete with the very, people that are much higher in security financially, they are competing. So I say well done, Pakistan Zindabad.
I must follow up Brother Salim's comment there.
Yeah.
We can go way back as well, the way they helped Turkey.
Yeah.
And Turkey is one country that has never forgotten Pakistan's favors.
And also China.
Thank you very much.
And even the way I see, like, you know, we can see the Arab countries now is all destroyed. And all of that, like the formula which is being tried to destroy them, like internal, you know, wars and all this, that has been implemented in Pakistan as well. We have seen Sawat, we have seen Waziristan. And you can't see a single example in whole world an army could win these type of war, where you don't know the person coming ahead is your friend or is your enemy. And whereas like the enemy knows that you are the enemy. So nobody could you know, tackle that. But we praise and we see like how army has tackled. Waziristan has such a history. Even Sikandar-e-Azam came there, could not be succeeded. Britons went there, could not be succeeded. Russian tried, everybody tried, and they could not be succeeded. Think in a way like how sophisticated way they fought that war, and praise to our intelligence as well, because there was a much bigger role of intelligence in these type of war. And now we could see, like you could see, like previously every second, third, fourth day you will see a suicide attack. Yeah. And when you see like suicidal, like the wider world thinks like suicide attack were emotionally motivated and like they are doing, but reality of the matter is they were using the people who do not really understand, not even Islam. They do not understand nothing. They are just like, you know, like brainwashed and just send it and done it. So our army have done such a great role. Now you can see a prosperous Pakistan moving on. So considering all this, is it a good reward?
Well, what I would say is that we live and work in the United Kingdom, and it's very important for the British government to appreciate and understand the sacrifices made by the Pakistani armed forces. There's also a long tradition of sharing intelligence between both countries, and I just feel the European Union, the West, and especially the UK, that they strengthen relationships between the armed forces of both countries, and that also the governments in the West appreciate and understand the challenges faced by Pakistan geostrategically, and also understand that no armed forces have given a bigger sacrifice in the war against fighting terrorism of any manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
So I deliberately do not use the term there, the war on terror. That was crafted by Bush and his minions, but specifically in the war against Dahshatgardi, Pakistan has given a huge
Tremendous role,
sacrifice.
yeah.
I mean, we're on about tens of thousands of soldiers and even police officers have lost their lives to defend the.
Can I just say, it's common knowledge in the past that there's been assault courses in Wales for the armies. They get like 10 armies and they have a 2-day or 10-day assault course. And Pakistan army has won that on numerous occasions. I think 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're a tough lot.
Yeah.
But the thing is, carrying on from Councillor Afzal Shah, that Pakistan has always fought terrorism. We are not terrorists, we are victims of terrorism.
Of course.
Yeah, we always have been. Right now, I don't know this Musharraf verdict that came out, could it be internal from Pakistan or external? You never
Might be
know.
another step to a proxy war.
We're facing a lot of problems. Maybe Kashmir, like the brother said, maybe the Balochistan issue, whatever it may be. But this decision might not be internally from Pakistan. It could be external. So we have to be wise, we have to be careful, and we must always praise our army. Thank you.
And Sheikh Saab, final quick comment. As a Supreme Court solicitor, what do you recommend the Pervez Musharraf Council to do as a steps to?
He should immediately file an appeal
Mhm.
before Supreme Court and take up all those steps which are needed as a lawyer, put all defects in the case, all procedural and legal defects. And problem is that this era is a fifth generation warfare.
Yes.
And that fifth generation warfare is when you capture mind, not body.
You're right.
Minds of people, and the enemy, you just divide the enemy and let them fight with each other. The problem is that now army thinks that Supreme Court has done or courts have done injustice to them, and judiciary thinks that army tries to overawe them and manipulate their decision. That is such a bad thing. It should not have happened at this stage, and that I think is being maneuvered at some stage by somebody.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
being orchestrated.
Yes.
So viewers, have you you heard the conversation? So overseas community is very concerned about this decision, and they feel their army, and we all understand our army is our heroes, because we have seen the countries was going through a difficult point, and how actually the army took that out from there. We also see like a lot of politicians revoking constitution, whatever, doing corruption and all that. This is a difficult decision for us to absorb as an overseas community. So this is the message from all of us, and this is message on the streets. So we keenly looking at it, and we are hopefully there would be an appeal, as Barrister Saab said, and we as a community are with our army. Thank you very much.
Inshallah.